Hi! I'm so sorry we ran a little bit later than expected, but thank you all for still being here. I really appreciate it. I just want to thank you all, one, for being here, but also supporting the Sit With Tea series of events and these incredible artists tonight. So let's get into it. So tonight we have some amazing panelists that I would like to share a little bit of information about if you didn't know already. So to start off with, we have the amazing Scott Free, aka Scotty Billion, Luke Priestley. He is not only a DIY hip hop producer and rapper, but also a videographer, photographer, graphic design, entrepreneur, got it all going on, and I'm very, very grateful to have you on the panel tonight. I think all of the work that you do is amazing. Secondly, we have Shola. She has, me and her have a very long history together, but she is a factual video producer and journalist, has worked with anything from interviewing Colin Farrell to now working with Leeds Plus, and I'm sure you'll have heard her voice on some of their videos if you do follow their stuff. So give a round of applause to Shola. And finally, we have Nat Joseph, the founder of We Belong Here, and a multidisciplined artist focused around identity, community, bringing people together. I know some of the work that you've done, I've been like big deep dive, and I can't lie, and I'm so impressed with some of the work that all the work you've done, but as of late, working to create murals with other people in community spaces, which I think is absolutely incredible. So let's welcome Nat. So I am sure you are all wondering, who are these people and why are we all here this evening? Sit With Tea is all about bringing creatives together, having honest conversations, but not only that, but really giving a deep dive into not just the shiny parts of being a creative. I'm sure that everyone in this room can, at some point resonate with the fact that, it takes a lot of hard work and effort to get to where we are, or still on our journeys. So just to get into it, could you all tell me a little bit more about your background and your beginnings into the field you're in today?
Hello, I'm Scott Free. I started messing with music when as young as 9, and it was always just a fascination with Lil Wayne, and I guess end-ups back in there, and over the years it's just evolved into, when I was 16, I took it seriously, started rapping, recording music, but I found that the entire music industry is kind of like, you need a videographer, you need a photographer, you need art, you need blah, 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 blah. And I just spent every year of my life basically focusing on a different thing and collating skills to get to the point where I'm at today. And I don't really know where to start because I kind of deep into every facet, but it all comes back down to hip hop and rap. And I just really because of how I've approached stuff, very DIY, my whole focus is on being left field experimental, out of the sake of this is what just happens because I'm just winging it the whole time. That's me.
Thank you so much.
I'm Shola, and I would say my beginnings are all a bit scrappy and a bit random. I feel like my career has been weirdly eclectic, and the job I do today, it's just I think a result of doing a lot of random stuff. As Tee mentioned, we go back a long way. We met during a period where I basically took advantage of every single free or cheap or subsidised creative course you could find back home where I'm from in London. And we met doing a British Film Institute documentary residential course, and I basically just from there scrapped about, started working for that production company who facilitated the course. Just told them I've just done my A-levels, can I have a job? I think it was a bit naive at the time, just thinking that could all work like that. But I think persistence just meant that they probably got sick of me and just were fine, let's just give her it. Have worked in factual TV, created digital content. I've done a little bit of freelance. have worked in content creation, and now I produce like short videos and stuff just talking about Leeds and just loving life in Leeds.
I really vibe with that of like kind of looking back at your past and seeing all these random twists and turns, and then where you're at now is really informed who you are. But like in that moment, it doesn't make any sense. But it's right in that moment. And it's so good to kind of do a bit of everything. My background as a visual artist, as a person who, as a young kid, was just like obsessed with drawing and painting as a way to kind of deal with my ADHD. I just had a lot going on with my brain, with who I was. So for me, being able to come back home from school and just kind of sit down and paint and paint and paint was my way of kind of dealing with the world. And I also came from like a family of filmmakers. So my granddad, my uncle, my mum and my dad are all filmmakers. And so my wow was, I'm never going to be a filmmaker. I'm going to be an artist because everyone is a filmmaker. And my granddad and my parents were like, oh, you'll be a filmmaker. And I was very determined at like the age of 4. I was like, had one week where I decided I wanted to be a flower seller. And my school, I grew up in India, so my school was very like, is she okay? What's happening? Should we be concerned? And my mum was really supportive. She was like, if she wants to be a flower seller, she will be the best flower seller in Bangalore. So I came from a family who was very creative and an upbringing that was very creative and a determination that I was not going to align to that. And as I grew up, I actually really wanted to be a filmmaker as well. I came to uni when I was about 19 to Leeds. And uni was this space where I was like, oh, I can do anything. It's the safety net. I can just have ideas and I have the freedom to make these mistakes. So I went a little bit crazy and I did some textile, I did murals, I worked with the community, I did weird sciencey kind of wavelength sound light installations that no one got. And as I kept developing, I started realizing I really loved people. And also where I ended up now came very much from like necessity because of my visa and stuff. So I was very much like, well, how do I stay here in this country that has a lot of potential for my future, whereas going back to India didn't really have that. And so it was through that necessity that I started We Belong Here and sort of felt like I was doing a business degree along with doing a fine art degree. So loads of twists and turns and just kind of doing a bit of everything and realising you can do a bit of everything. And now, sort of 10 years down the line, I'm like, I really know what I enjoy doing and what I don't enjoy doing, but I really have enjoyed that experience of finding out. Sorry for the math.
No, that's amazing.
I really love that.
And something that I've not really, like, I guess considered slightly naively, but you all respectively have a very interesting kind of like, I'm really interested in different things. How can I create a world where this all works for me? And like all of them, although very, very different answers to that question, I really got a vibe of like the fact that, you know, you've done out of necessity, like you said, but also like finding these pockets of things that you're really interested in and how you can make that work for you as opposed to the other way around, which to me is so, so inspiring to hear from each, every one of you. So thank you for sharing that. I think that was really, really lovely. So Luke, just to go to you, I know that you create all sorts of different work, and obviously if you've not heard already, Luke released his album yesterday. Incredible, so please give that a listen. Sorry, I've just got my notes mixed up there we go. But yeah, I think it's really, really incredible what you're doing. Just to talk a little bit about your creative practice today, and I guess looking back on your experience over the years as well, what really have you taken from that which then inspires you today?
What were taken from just my...
Yeah, like your experiences of finding all of these different pockets of things you're interested in and then bringing it into one today.
Yeah, well, each time I would like... So there was times where I'd be needing a video and Rob, my guy over there, he's doing all the video tonight. He's helped me a lot over the years with video. But obviously I can't put everything onto the one guy. So I just spend a lot, and there's also a whole thing about, like, what's Rob is amazing, there's stuff that I could do that no one else will be able to do for me in that respect. Like, so over the years, just spend a lot of time working with different artists. I used to not just rap, that was all I did. It then went into producing and like learning to make beats, and then I would do that for other people. Just like, I would just lie basically and just be like, oh yeah, I can do it for you. Not having a clue what I was doing. And then I would learn on the job out of pressure. Like, and that's like my whole ethos to this day. And yeah, it just kept coming in as like, I'd do videos and then I'd learn how to do artwork. And now it's come to a point where, so like this album I dropped yesterday, I originally made it all in 2023, but I shelved it because I already had like 3 other projects on the go, and they were all due to come out, and I was like, it's going to get confusing. But then start this year, I've listened back to it, and I've realised I'd done all the masters, I'd done all the artwork, and I'd done everything, but I hated all of it. Like, so I just spent the first month of this year, like, about 2 weeks, just going in with everything I've learned over the last few years. So artwork, I've redid all the art, I've made cassette tapes from it, and then I did new visuals and just put it all back together to then drop it yesterday. But I would say, to answer your question, like, it's not really something that I realised when it was happening. It's just one day I was doing artwork, one day I was doing videos, and then now whenever I need to do something, it's like, oh, I can do that. And yeah, it's just great. Like, from doing the videos for myself, people now hit me up to be like, oh, I want you to do like a Scot-free video for me. And then I would just do, yeah, and I didn't know what that meant. I didn't even know what to charge people when they said that. So, but now it's come to a thing where, like, I'm almost always doing video work now, paid. And like, that was something like 2 years ago, I'd never seen that for myself. I never wanted it. But it's just happened because of something I just spent time doing in my own time. And yeah, it's just one of the things. It's a gradual build up of everything you're learning on a day-to-day basis to make you who you are. And I never really thought too deeply about it up until, and it's still happening to this day. Like, stuff like, I'm trying to learn 3D, but that's an absolute blag. But I know one day I'll get there. But you've just got to spend time with these things, and you have to be bad. That's the thing. Like, yeah. I was terrible at all these things, and now, like, the last 2 years, I feel amazing at it. Like, I have full confidence on I'm able to do it. But like I was saying at the start, that's from me kind of bullshitting people and be like, I can do this, and then because of the pressure, social pressure, like, I don't want to mess this up, doing a good job. Yeah.
Fake it
Does
till you make it.
yeah, fake it till you make it. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely,
yeah,
it does.
yeah.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So, Shola, I know that your background, as you mentioned earlier, started with kind of like the BFI, then moving into working with CVs.
CTVC, yeah.
Yeah,
That's such a random one to talk about that as well.
Yeah.
We're like, it was such a random company to work for.
But it did lead you on to doing things with Interfilm and also kind of skyrocketing your career in terms of where you wanted to be and the factual side of that as well. Would you mind speaking a little bit about that time in your life? Because I feel like I know I mentioned earlier Colin Farrell that you interviewed, but I know you also interviewed some other incredible people around that time in your life. So I'd love to speak about that a little bit more with you, if that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah. It's you know what, that's so much of that fake it till you make it vibe, that as well. Because I'm nearly 26, and I would have been around like 17, 18 at the time that this was all happening. And like, I was leaving school, I knew 2 things: that I chat a lot, and I need to figure out a way to get paid for it. And I thought, like, let's just think about this. So there was this, like, another scheme that, like, I found out about called Get Into Film. And they basically is a mad scheme. Like, I think they've, like, it's a shame because I don't think they do it anymore, but, like, they basically were getting people between the age of 12 years old and 18 to go to, like, proper press junkets and, like, speak to, like, directors and, like, producers and actors and stuff. The reason being is like, at press junkets, there's all these like celebrities and stuff, and they get really bored. They get there at like 6 a.m. These junkets go on for hours and hours and hours, and they get asked the same questions. So the whole idea was like to bring in the young people. Like you're like, I don't know, Emma Stone or whoever, and you're sitting there, and then some 12-year-old walks in, and then you're like, whoa, like you're a little bit thrown by it. And so like it gets a bit more out of people. So it was quite high pressure, and I remember like going from like my little bit of London, going out with like this proper like professional dude, and like going to some mad like crazy hotel, and then like speaking to all these people and like having to deal with the pressure of it. I think that really taught me a lot, because I was a bit younger, and like I think just that whole vibe of like, well, I can't be sweating now because I'm here now. Like, I'm doing it now. But there were some really cool people I got to speak to. I'm really, really grateful. And like, I mean, like it happened like 8 years ago, and it's still on the TV. Like it's still like doing its work. But I got to speak to people like Colin Farrell, amazing director Ava DuVernay. I got to speak to, my favourite of all time is Seth Rogen. He was really cool, and he did the big like laugh and stuff. It was great. Like I just really appreciated the opportunity, and it was like, the other part of that experience was like, because again, it's like something that I've not really done loads of since, but like it got me into the journalist mindset of things, and like the curiosity of it all. And you used to like go and watch a film, like a film like preview or whatever, writing notes in like the dark, thinking of all your questions that you're going to ask and stuff, and then go in and just having to deal with the pressure. And the thing about it that I think taught me a lot was that it was only 5 minutes. You only had 5 minutes to do this interview. Like your card, like whatever it says on it, like get it said in 5 minutes. And like I think just it was like, I think one thing that I've always found is like, if there's an opportunity, like I will just run for it and like just take it, because what have I got to lose? Like, okay, maybe I was a bit nervous, maybe I was sweating. Like there was quite a few of those, they're on YouTube. There's quite a few where I'm like visibly sweating or stuttering, and that's like fine. I'm still really proud of it. But yeah, it was a really cool time. And Tee also mentioned another place where I worked called CTVC, which stands for Christian Television Communications or something. Now this is like a really like weird and interesting like company, because they now produce, like in the last few years, they've started producing songs of praise. I don't know if you guys, when you're like flicking, when you were like ill at school, and you'd had like a day off school, and then you would like be flicking telly and it's like songs of praise. Like they make that now, and it's like the company is really interesting. They started off like from like old like Christian money, and now what their remit is now is just like factual like documentary content for TV, for digital, and they even do some stuff for like kids in schools, but it's all just kind of spiritual and like, I guess like religion focused, but not necessarily like kind of preachy. It's really like interesting stuff. So I made some like, we did like a BBC bite-sized series when I worked there. It was called Holy Cribs. And it was a bit like MTV Cribs, but like it was another really, it was honestly like MTV Cribs but for kids in schools. They had this like sick platform called TrueTube that created like digital content for kids in schools. And like again, like another weird part of my career where I was just like, I became like an assistant producer on that, and I was like, I'm literally, I don't know what is happening right now, but it meant that I would get like, go with like a videographer, go to like a mosque or a gurdwara or like a vihara, like a Buddhist temple, and just get to speak to people, like produce it on the day. Like there'd be like a young person from that religion, and they'd be showing us around their place, but it was my job to like produce the content. And again, just like another really random thing, but it's an opportunity. So like, let's just give it our all. Let's just put good energy into it. Let's just like give it a go. So yeah, weird time, but like great time. And like, I'm really grateful for like everything it taught me and the people I met. Like, I think really something that I chimed with that you mentioned earlier was like, just the idea of like your career being focused around people. So this is the main thing, like apart from like just being in the chat box, like I've just always loved being around people and like collaborating and like feeling like I'm part of a creative team, or that we're all
something.
Yeah, we're all like there's something positive going on. Like I remember before, like I wanted to go into media. I was like, it's either going to be like charity work or like media work, and I've managed like over the years to kind of blend the two together, because that media company was also a charity as well. So it's just nice to be able to like feel like I'm doing something positive.
And that's the
like,
thing, there's no
skills.
rules, is there? There's no rules. It's like you make it up as you go. Who said you have to do something prescriptive with your life? Like do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And then once you do it though, it becomes this model for other people to kind of imagine they can do it as well. And then you're like, oh yeah, this is legit.
Yeah.
Like, other people can do this and I'm doing it and
Yeah.
this is fine.
I think that's probably the thing. I think I'm only at like a point now where I feel like I'm actually like a legit person. In my career, like,
That's yours.
yeah, no. We'll see.
Think about it.
Yeah.
thank you for answering that. That was a really wonderful description of everything that you said, and obviously I'm super proud of you and where you've come to this day.
It's been a long time, yeah.
It really has, and 12 years later, still on the grind and still pursuing what you want.
I mean, that's how we met, because we met as young people on a
Documentary.
BFI documentary course, and it was like a week of young people all together in some random scout house in London, far Essex basically.
It was in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, but that was cool. Again, an opportunity just for young people who were really keen to get together.
Definitely.
So yeah, we've been friends ever since.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That friendship is like so lovely. So cute.
So, Nat, I know you touched a little bit on We Belong Here earlier, but I am really, really interested about the reasons that pushed you to go from being this is something I can do to something that this could be a business and something that can be a CIC and work not only for yourself but for other people as well. I know you touched on really, and I'm the same, humans and people are really the main inspiration for everything that I do, hence why we're all here tonight. I'd really love to hear from you about what were your instinctions, what was the things that really drove you to go from it being something that you could do to something that people could join you to be a part of something bigger.
How long have we got?
As long as you
I'm
want.
gonna do a quick one because I'm
Sure.
gonna be here for a while. I think We Belong Here has gone through so many versions of itself and has been so influenced by the people who I was collaborating with at the time, who were so I think I was 21 when I started it. I was in my third year of uni, and I was desperately trying to figure out a way to stay in England because I felt like I just settled in and I just started kind of growing those networks and feeling part of something. And that was 2019. And so in my third year of university, around this time, basically now when you graduate, you get 2 years as a graduate visa, which gives you time as a graduate to try and find a job, try and stay here. Obviously, my luck, as soon as I graduated, I don't remember who it wasn't Bojo yet, but the person, I think it was Theresa May, was no, we're not doing that anymore. You get deported 2 or 3 months after you graduate. So it was very you don't have that time. You need to figure it out before it gets there, because you can't do visa stuff a week before. It's years before. And so someone in my university was talking about it and was oh, you could get sponsored to start a business. And I was I don't know anything about business. Historically, I've been really bad at maths, since age 5. How am I going to do this? So I spent most of the afternoons and evenings in the library doing business for dummies and kind of be how do I start a CIC? Is that what I'd want to do? And so far I knew I'd done smaller projects where I'd got some funding off my own back. I just applied for some funding and I'd facilitated a project with some older people, and I taught folks in Brahmali traditional Indian folk art, including 60-plus-year-old men who have never heard of these things, who I had to bribe with ice cream. And then it got so stuck in, they were no, I love Bali, it's a 2,000-year-old ancient art form. Why would I stop? And then they're Gary, because your ice cream smells. And that's what I loved, is sometimes you just do things, and I think back and I'm who has the energy to do that? Why did I do that? The second year of uni, I wasn't getting anything out of it in the way that now I think, if I do this, that's, part of this plan. I was just doing it because I was can I do it? And then I got it and I was oh shit, now I've got to do it. Very much I've said I can do it and I've never done this in my life. And then I realized I loved doing it. And so I knew I wanted to work with people. I was really passionate about, and I still am really passionate, about seeing more people like me within fine art spaces. So I was 1 in 5 global majority people in my course of 80. It was very white, it was very male dominated. The kind of careers that the tutors said that you could go into was you could become an artist into a gallery, you could become an art therapist, you could become an art teacher, or the fourth option is you could quit. And I was starting my CIC and I was what about entrepreneur? What about like this? And they were like, no. And I was like, no, it is an option. It's just not like supported because there are these rules that no one tells you about.
Mm.
So I was really passionate about creating more spaces for artists like me, even though essentially I'm just an emerging artist who doesn't have an opportunity myself. But my idea was if we bring people together, like spaces like this, where you might not know that many people in the room, but by the end of the evening you might get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
Similarly, if we bring creative people like dancers, musicians and artists together in an event, maybe we start to expand that space. So We Belong Here started as like an event where I really wanted visual art and performing art to be equal in how we experience it. Because sometimes you can look at a piece of art and maybe not feel as engaged as listening to someone rapping or someone dancing. And from that, like, to cut a really long story short, it became this like event space at one point. It was a gallery space, and I got funding to help artists create new work and musicians and visual artists to collaborate. It then went into like obviously COVID times where it became about going into the community and doing stuff, and it was always about like how do we create some kind of social impact? Is it through how you create with people? Is it giving people the opportunity and the platform? It went down a theatre route for a bit. It came back. It then suddenly became murals, and that was such a nice way to go out into the community, engage with people, leave your lasting sort of mark on it, and build that sort of visual feeling in a public space. And then you kind of do a lot of it, and you start accumulating kind of knowledge by doing so many of the same things. And weirdly, you can't really use that knowledge for the next one because it's a different kind of problem and it's a different kind of project. But yeah, We Belong Here is very much about people. It's about opportunity. It's about access. But it's also about having fun. And like, I kind of grew my business like a hedge rather than a tree. And I sort of, like I went all around, and if you map it, you kind of like so rapid. And now I know what I want to do. And now I feel like I actually know what I'm doing because it's been 10 years. And now I'm like ready to sort of see it grow as a tree. So I don't know if that answers anything.
No, it really does, and I feel like it is really incredible what you're doing. So thank you so much.
But it's people. It's people more than anything in the world. It's just people.
It is people, but we need people to come together to be able to do these things.
Yes.
Like, as you mentioned, whether that is if it's an art exhibition with performing artists, or if it's like music based, but we're bringing in other people into that. I think all of these things are so important, and the fact that you've been able to like acknowledge that that's not a space that's really feeding what you need, and creating your own space to do so is really, really inspiring, and I think we can all agree that is something that is needed more. So thank you for doing that. It really is incredible. Kind of moving on from that, you've all talked about how hard you've worked in different respects to get to where you are, whether that be learning along the way and having to kind of bullshit your way through, but getting there, and also like putting yourself in spaces that potentially you don't know all of the ropes for, but doing it anyway, and putting yourself in the new spaces and proving yourself right, which is incredible. Or finding every or any free kind of initiative or cheap initiative to get yourself into spaces to like acquire that knowledge, or finding an empty space that you need to fill, whether that be in yourself or in a community. What have been like the hard parts, or like the hardest parts of doing your respective fields of work, whether that be an individual moment or something that is ongoing still? I know for myself, even this week I've had a bit of a mare with like finding myself in terms of like the video work that I do, but also like events that I put on, and I think it's something that as creatives on a whole we always find like the word imposter syndrome, and being like, is this really who I am? I know I've been doing it for such a long time, or maybe starting out, but if this is really where you want to be, keep on doing it. But what have been them hard parts, I guess, for all of you, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I guess a hard part for me has been, it's just finding people who actually match your ideals and what you want to do, because we talk about collaboration, that's a huge part of what I do, because I produce for a lot of people, I do a lot of other work for people, but to find people who actually understand what you're trying to do, so like I do more left field experimental stuff. I work with a lot of people who are more commercial, like generic sounding as well. And there's people when I do stuff with like a mix or a video, they'll be like, oh, I hate that. Like, but I'm there and I love it. But over the years, you come to find people who actually understand what you're trying to do the more you do it. And it's never any diss or a knock to anyone who doesn't understand it. But it's definitely a lot of effort and hardship to feel so alone in what you're trying to do, and just wanting to be like understood, I guess. Like, so stuff like that. Like it's really hard to be a music artist and do all the other stuff I do and keep on top of it, and then just have like a lot of work I do. Sorry, I'm getting stumbled on my words. Let me start again. So yeah, we got that point. But I would say one big hardship is cost as well. Like being a music artist is extremely costly. Being any kind of artist is costly, especially if you're into video work. The cameras are crazy money, like astronomical. And I would say, but you've got to work with what you've got as well. So for years I don't have an amazing camera. I've got some of that works for me when I do my video and photography work, and I just really lean into that aesthetic and make that my thing. And like it's all about if you can only like get to what you've got, and you have to work with what you have. And like I could wish to have like a mad camera, a crazy camera, or even on the music side, insane synths, like so many different bits that I've got on a list. But if we're talking about list, it's like 20-30k like in money, and it's like I can't even afford 250 quid for a drum machine right now. But there's always a workaround, is my point. And you'll definitely come up with stuff that's like you'll have an idea and you want to do it, but you can't. But you've just got to do the best iteration of that idea you possibly can, because then you've got it and you can move past it, and it's not sat in your head like sitting there the whole time just stewing and just being like you've done it, you've gone past it, and then in future you have an idea that's similar that becomes a better version of that previous idea. But there's no point being stuck on something. All you have to do is keep moving. And my whole ethos as well with music and stuff is like I'm just trying to get it done. Like some people be in the studio and they'll be overthinking like lyrics or like overthinking the mix, and I'm just like the vibe is there. If we just do it and get it done, then we can just work on something else and then come back to this on a day when it makes more sense. But if you sit there for 7 hours messing with a kick drum, you've already lost. Like you need to just choose a kick drum and get it over with within the first 20 seconds. And then like on another day, I'll listen to stuff that I made like weeks ago, and I'll be like, this is amazing. But on the day I made it, I wasn't thinking anything of it. I just exported it, put it in a folder, forgot about it, and moved on. And I just think one of the biggest hardships is getting over that mental block of believing that it needs to be something that isn't attainable, when you should really just do the thing, move on, because you're going to have another idea in 2 hours, and it's going to, if you remember to actually write it down and do it, it's going to be a great idea, and then in 2 hours you're going to have another one. So just keep the ball rolling and don't let it slow you down, because you'll be there all day and it'll never end. When you can let it end, then just do something else.
Thank you. Yeah.
Ooh.
I think I feel that like kit and cost is always like a big thing, and like the camera I've got, I bought it second hand off like a photographer, and it was already like 10 years old when he had it, and the buttons like falling off and everything, but it still gets like shown the light of day when I need it to be shown. So there's always that. But I think another thing that's been quite difficult is like so it's actually happening right now. Like I have ADHD, and like this whole time I've been here, I keep forgetting to say that like I moved to Leeds in 2020, and I started uni up here. Like I moved for uni after like working like in telly for a couple of years, and like I didn't know I had ADHD until like going into my second year of uni, and I'm really glad that like I found out and like got the diagnosis and stuff, because it meant that I got like support and stuff at uni, which I just really like needed, and I never had it like the whole entire time at school. But I think it like was definitely a bit of a knock, because like I've always found like being organised, like just kind of gathering, like I don't know how to describe it, but like organising my work, I've always found it like really hard, and got a lot of ideas in here and I've got a lot to say, but like just trying to get it all like in a way that other people can understand it, I can find really difficult. So I really value sometimes like being in like a team, or knowing like how I'm being listened to, and like just having a good like communication with people. But there's like, yeah, that's a bit of like an internal one, but then on like an external level as well, like in my career I've been in a lot of spaces where I'm like a very like odd one out, like feeling like I'm the youngest person, or feeling like I'm the brownest person, or like the only woman. And like I remember I went to like a press call like a few months ago, because the Tour de France is coming to Leeds in a couple of years.
So down the bridge.
Yeah. But like I went to this press call as like with like other journalists and stuff, and first of all like I work with an iPhone, so I rocked up with like a gimbal and an iPhone, and then there's like ITV, BBC, blah, 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 like everyone with their massive cameras, and there's like no women in there, there's no people of colour in there, and I was a bit like freaked out when I went in, because I was a bit like, oh, like I actually just feel really uncomfortable. But then at the same time, like I just had to like, you know, when you just got to say to yourself, you just got to turn it on and be like, no, actually I should be really proud, because like I'm literally the only one, like it's a really good thing that I'm different and I'm actually here and like I'm making that work. So stuff like that, I think it can be a bit of a knock to confidence sometimes when you find like, and I've just felt it so often like over the years, like just acknowledging that I'm different, but then just trying to like lead with like my head held high and like feel really good about it, and actually like take it as like a massive blessing and be like, you know what, let's just make this work and let's like make an impression, because I'm already sticking out like a sore thumb, and may as well make people remember me for like really good reasons. So yeah, I'd say like I found it hard, but like at the same time a bit of a strength.
Go, Shola.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just taking all that in.
That's right. I really felt like that at uni as well. I don't know if anyone studied here, but like, yeah, it was weird at uni of Leeds. It's very like, a lot, like, it was just weird. Like, I come from like a part of East London that has since been gentrified, but it was weird like being at uni and people just being completely different. Like, I really clocked it then. Yeah.
Leeds uni's like that, yeah.
Proper.
Yeah.
On my course as well, like, it was mad, but yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just, my ADHD brain was like, there was a lot of differences coming from India, and it was just such a like culture shock, and it was literally a culture shock.
Yeah.
But it was also, I grew up with everyone being brown, and then I came to Leeds and I went to a course where I was like 1 of 5, and I was like, where's the culture? Where's the like fun foods that people are talking about eating? Like, why is no one seasoning their food? Like, it was very like shocking, and then it became winter, and no one told me the clocks changed. And I was sold this very romantic, idealized Western world in the movies, and I got to England and I was like, this is not what I was sold. I was missold. And I was like, they made me pay my fees up front as well. Anyways, it's fine. 10 winters on, I think I've actually cracked it. Not quite, but kind of. But going back to your question, Tee, as I was thinking about it, I think my biggest or like hardest thing that I've kind of had to overcome or faced is just circumstances. Like the day-to-day problems that felt really big, where it was like things like, oh, I can't afford it, and cash flow. That's a big practical thing that I think every artist and creator goes through. But
Sorry.
like, oh, I lost my train of thought. Sorry. That's okay. Circumstances, yeah. They just give you a lot of perspective. So things like a visa and maybe getting deported. A lot of people in this room. I think the last time I came here, I got my visa.
You just got your visa.
That
Was it the day?
Yeah, it was the day.
It was the day.
Like the evening I came, the afternoon I got my visa that morning, and it'd been a year of slogging for this visa. That's only for 1 year. But you know, like things like that, or I got long COVID during COVID, and it completely changed how I operate and how I like live my life. I lost like feeling in my hand for about 6 months, so I couldn't paint. And that just gave me such a like identity crisis because all I've ever done in my life is paint or use my hands to do something. And I've always been a perfectionist, and it needs like the smallest thing, like you know what you were saying about the drawings, but you do that because it does matter. Like, there's that part of you that like really itches to get it perfect, and then you realize like there's no point. There is and there isn't, and you're constantly sort of oscillating between that.
What I was saying is, like I was saying, there's perfect, like, obviously you'll have those times where, what I'm trying to say, you get it done, but then you just come back to it another day and
like,
you perfect it those days, because when you've got the hindsight of like, I've done all this work on another day, now I know it needs what to improve, that's when it gets better. That's all I want to add.
But yeah, that's it. But when you get to a point where you can't even get that first start because you can't hold a pen and you can't think about it, then it really puts into perspective the kind of scale of what is tough and what isn't. And then what used to feel hard becomes just a challenge and something you can problem solve, like on the day to day. It's like, that's gone wrong. Okay, how do we fix it? Because there's a solution. Whereas I think when that happened with my hand, I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I went to the doctors and they were like, we don't know what you're meant to do. Do you want some drugs? And I was like, not really. I kind of just want you to fix what's happening. And like 6 years down the line, they're still like, we don't know what's happening to you. So I think, circumstance really puts into perspective what is hard and what isn't. And it's not to negate that in that moment, what is hard and what is relative doesn't have its impact and its severity, but it's like kind of zooming out a bit. And sometimes you get forced to zoom out and kind of reconcile with what's hard and what's not. So, yeah.
Of course, absolutely.
You made me think of something because, like, I think if you're a creative person and you've got a creative career, your life and your circumstances are so tied to like what you do, and like you walk into like your job or like whatever you're doing, carrying like who you are, and like I say, you just made me think about something because I lost my dad in 2023, and the idea of grief, like I'd never really encountered grief before, but like it became such a massive part of like my kind of art, I guess.
But like, I guess like as a creative person, you're basically just, your whole being is to express, and you're expressing what you're living, and that is not always good, but what we create out of that is beautiful, right? And you were like kind of, sometimes to monetize that, it has to become practical, you have to like make it work in the circumstances, but the truest form of what we do and why we are is because we have something to say in the way we say it, and that is always representative of a moment in time as well. What your thought made me think.
No, 100%. I started learning, like I do stand-up comedy. Well, I say I do it, but I haven't done it for a little while. But like I do stand-up on the side of everything. And I like did my first stand-up gig 10 days before he died. And then like I've just been doing like this like for charity, like learn how to do comedy thing. And then all of a sudden, yeah, I literally just like, I'd been like learning comedy for like 8 weeks before, and then I had all these skills, and then I had this like fresh grief, and I was like, I actually don't know what I'm doing with my life right now, like I don't know what's going on. But I ended up like at uni, like probably like a year or so like down the line, I made my whole final documentary about grief, and I like did this like thing where I like spoke to different type of people and how they cope with it, like the weird and wonderful ways people cope with grief. So I ended up speaking to like an opera singer who talked about the breathing techniques and why it was really helpful. A woman who's like a deep water swimmer, and like how like breathing helped her. I went to Morley. I met Morley Grief Group. Like you should hear the laughter in that place. That sounded like a stand-up comedy gig. Those guys are like really full of life and stuff. But I loved like I just wanted to touch on it because you mentioned circumstance, and I felt like that was a circumstance that I encountered that really actually helped me be connected to other people, and then from there like the art just followed.
Thank you for sharing that. I guess the flip side of that, but I feel like it's something you've slightly touched on, is that although these hard moments have happened in your lives, or that you have kind of had to confront, is also maybe one of like, or at least a proud moment for you, that it is something that you have overcome, or something that you've dealt with and carried on going. And I know for a lot of people, especially myself, when I've been in a moment, sometimes it feels like that's kind of, maybe not it, but something that it becomes a blockage or it becomes a barrier to moving forward in a positive way. But as you rightly said, sometimes like the hardest moments that we go through are the things that also end up pushing us to do exactly what we want to do. And I think you are all extremely inspiring in that regard, that, you know, whatever has come towards you, you've dealt with, you've fought it, you've not let it like encompass you, you've actually used that as your superpower. I wonder if there's a moment that stands out to any of you or each of you that has made you feel particularly proud, or something that you would feel like, looking back as being a child, that's something that you'd be like, if I could tell my younger self that I've done this right now, I can't even imagine what they would say. I hope that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I used to, like, you're obviously growing up as someone interested in rap, had dreams of being like, you know, Mac Miller, for example, and performing in front of the insane crowds. But, like, I don't know, but along the way, somewhere it kind of shifted where, like, I didn't really care about, like, such a superficial thing, rather than I just cared about making great art that I thought was good. And it just comes to a point where there's not really one particular moment, as much as I would say the past couple of years, where I've never felt more complete as a person than now, like the last couple of years, because I spent a lot of time wishing I was a good artist, wishing I did these things. But it just, again, I feel like I'm repeating points, but it all collates to one moment where you're like, oh, I'm actually doing this. And it's like, the past couple of years I had offers for, like, I've worked for this brand in London called Power Speed Sports, and they're my friends, but like they've made a good company, and it's just like, that's kind of just come out of nowhere. But I remember being younger, wishing I had connect people like that, because I grew up in Halifax, West Yorkshire, and there's literally no one, like nobody who can relate to me in terms of being a rap artist from West Yorkshire. Like, there is a couple, but no one really who's like doing it, I would say. And it just felt like doing that, making I used to look up to this guy when I was younger called Jack Dans, who's an artist in Leeds as well. And I've made 3 albums with him now. And when I was a kid, that was like kind of like a dream in some capacity, something I wanted. And yeah, just it's really difficult to pinpoint a moment I'm proud of, because time goes so fast and you don't really realise it's passing. But I would say I just feel more proud that I'm able to do the things I do without having to like prove anything to anyone.
Yeah.
And just doing it, just being who I am. And that's really what I'm proud of, because
staying true to you.
And like, man, I live over in Lancashire now, far from West Yorkshire, but just having my own house and my own studio, and that's all stuff that I've wished I had. Like, I used to dream of being able to, like, oh, you know, I'm a rapper and a producer. But like, I actually am like a rapper and a producer now. Like, that's not like, it's not a dream anymore. It happened, and I'm just, I can't pinpoint a specific moment.
That's okay, but that I feel like you've
just the gradual growth of everything, and like you don't realise why it's happening. But then looking back, like you asking a question like that, it's just like, oh well, I've done a lot of things I wanted to do, and it's just like I'm at a point where I just want to see where it goes, and I'm not putting pressure on it to be a certain thing. I'm just taking day by day, and opportunities will come when they come, and you've just got to take them and then you'll be proud of them moments.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Cheers.
We got the hand fact massive.
Yeah.
I say like one of my proudest moments is like I've touched on like the fact that I went to uni, and I'm really proud that I even like made it, because I didn't go straight from school. Like I worked for a few years and then made a choice to move here and do that. And I was really proud when I graduated, because it was a bit of a nightmare. Like ADHD diagnosis in the first year, dad dies before the final year, bad timing. So just the fact that I did that, I was really proud of myself. My dad never got to go to uni, so like I took a little picture of him on stage, like when I like crossed the stage and got my thing. I was really proud of it. So that's like one key moment. I think it's just because I like worked really hard and like I just love living in Leeds, and it was just like a huge deal to me. I'd say like similar to you, like it's a bit of a gradual thing. Like where I work at Leeds Plus now, I like create like short form content like daily. Like I'm literally editing daily, and like don't tell my boss, but like when I applied for the job, I like didn't edit that much. Like I was like, yeah, I'm like the Tom Cruise of editing. Like I can edit, yeah. But like I was editing like one video a year. So like, so like the fact that I do it all the time now, to tell like the stories I tell, to like work with businesses and like people across the city, to like just be so proud of the place and like live in my chosen home and like just be so in touch with like, the community. I'm just so proud and so grateful to like represent like Leeds Plus and like just make this content, because it like I guess the whole ethos there is like to like champion the city. So it's just like a really proud thing. Like I'm really happy with it.
So nice listening to everyone. You get a bit like sucked in, and you're like, oh, I'm you just kind of in the celebrity, and everyone's like, oh god. Yeah, I do have one moment in time, but the like listening to what everyone's saying, I think is also this feeling, and I think I'll tell you the moment, but I want to tell you the feeling first.
Tell me.
And I think it's this feeling that doing art, making art by myself, still brings me the same amount of joy, and like I'm in this other world, and I can still like I think the younger version of myself would be really happy that I've retained that, because it hasn't been easy, and it's it's been a lot of things I didn't imagine. So many emails, so much admin. Like why does no one tell you about that? But like you going past that, and like even working with people, it's a lot of energy. I love doing it. Working in a public space where everyone's opinion is your problem, and like it's loud. You're putting yourself out there, and you're the face of it. So from all ends, everyone's coming at you, and managing that and the emotions of that, and making sure that you're representing that space and that community, and that bringing you joy. But at the end of all of that, still feeling so much joy when I'm by myself and I pick up a paintbrush, or I just, even if I don't pick up a paintbrush, I have an idea, or I create something in my head, or I think of an idea. Like not losing that, I think my younger version would be very proud that I still feel that same joy. But a very specific moment that I felt, and this is why it's called We Belong Here. The company became We Belong Here because it was an event. And for a long period of time living in England, I really struggled with understanding what home means, because I left when I was about 19, and then every time I went back home, I didn't feel like I was from home. Everyone started saying, oh, you sound different, and you're saying these weird, like, accented things. And then but when I was here, everyone was like, well, you're not from here. So you then become kind of neither from anywhere. And then you're trying to sort of navigate that and understand where you actually belong. And over the years, you finally start to, like now when I look at my life here, it's a second home. And I actually feel like, oh, I do belong here. Like I wouldn't say I'm British. I'd say I'm from West Yorkshire. But I'm Indian and West Yorkshire. I'm not. But don't say that when I'm going for like my passport. No one needs to know that. But it's that moment is the same feeling. Sorry, this is all like tangled. But my first event, called We Belong Here, was in a dance studio just down the road where Kobe Dance used to be.
Oh, no way.
And it was great. It was just like an open dance rehearsal, all of this like art everywhere. And then we were projecting onto the mirrors that was then like reflecting all the art onto the roof of the industrial building. And like 100 people came, and I was like, 5 people are gonna come. It was packed, and I was like, who are these people? And there was this moment where I was sitting in the corner, kind of like just enjoying it, and I looked up and someone was like singing, and someone had started dancing, and I looked up and the logo of We Belong Here was on the top of the roof, and I looked at all these people, and I was like, oh, I feel like I'm meant to be here, like I'm part of something. And now I look back at that and I was like, you were really not part of anything, like the way you are now. But it's that feeling of feeling like you come from somewhere. And I think my younger self would be very impressed that I moved 6,000 miles away and managed to replicate that same feeling somewhere completely different.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was what I was feeling when you guys were talking.
Right.
Oh,
I feel like everyone felt all of that from each and every one of you. That I'm hoping that not only are you proud of these individuals, but also really inspired by the work they do and how hard they've had to work to get to where they are, learning new skills along the way. I feel like it's something that we all have to do at some point, whether if it's something that we decide to do or it's something that just becomes second nature in terms of like, oh, I need to put myself in this space so I can grow as a human or a creative or whatever it is. And I hope you all do feel super inspired by these people, because I for sure do. And I'm so grateful to have each and every one of you here tonight and to speak about your individual practices, but also how, the barriers to make it to where you are right now have also like influenced where you are now. And I think that's one thing that I have taken away from our conversations this evening, is that no matter what is in your way, you just make it happen. Whether that be, I can't buy, what I need right now, I'm going to use the resources that I have to make it work anyway. Or I don't feel like there's this space right now, I need to make sure that this space has got integrity and supports other people at the same time. Or finding your feet in a new place and learning to become a part of it, but also putting your twist on it. And I think that's a really beautiful thing, that we don't need to conform to just what everyone else is doing already. It's all about making your own space, because everyone has space in this world to be an individual. No one needs to be, what everyone else is doing. And I think these are 3 prime examples tonight of how you don't need to fit in per se to make it work. You can do it purely off your own inhibition and your own passions for creation, whether that be music, video journalism, or just finding yourself in the world, or being a part of a community, creating incredible artist work yourself, and also making sure that other people feel included in that by showcasing other people. So thank you all so much. I would love to pass it over to the audience to see if anyone has any questions for our wonderful panelists this evening. Don't worry if not, but if you do, I have, okay, that's fine. These things happen.
Someone throw a random one.
Go on. Rob!
What brand is everyone's microwave?
That is super
So my boss gave me his old one because he moved somewhere that had a microwave and I didn't have one, and we literally just didn't have one for months, and we just kind of got on with it. But then he just gave me some. I think it's from Asda.
That's a good piece of law.
It's 700
Thank
watt.
you.
Right?
Thank you.
You have to do things for slightly longer.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
okay.
need to go
Yes,
my
Tally.
I don't know my microwave well enough.
My question is, how close are you to your true self?
That's a good question. That's a good one.
Go on.
I don't know. I feel like being your true self is, again, a gradual process. I feel more confident than ever where I'm at right now, but I also feel like I've got a lot of room to grow and be who I want to be. And being in rap music, a lot of people typically blow up who you see in media, 20-ish, young usually. But I never ever looked up to them people ever. I always looked up to Action Bronson and Danny Brown, who did not even have a career till they were 32 years old.
Yeah.
So I just think I'm 27 now, but I still think I'm just a baby really in the grand scheme of things. And a lot can change in a year, and a lot can change in 5 years. So I feel closer than ever, but I don't know where the end is my answer. For each.
Everybody always talk about Morgan Freeman as well. You know how they said Morgan Freeman didn't do nothing. Or Samuel L. Jackson.
How old was it?
I don't know, Morgan Freeman and Samuel L. Jackson, they were definitely in their 40s.
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
when they started acting and stuff. I always think about that. I don't really know.
No,
the
it's-
facts, but
I always think that was my copium.
yeah.
Like,
I feel similar to you in the sense of like I feel like I'm closer than I've ever been, and like I think every step that I'm taking like career wise, I'm just trying to like follow. I feel like I've got a bit of like a North Star, and that North Star is like just people, community, good vibes, positive like impact. But like to where that will lead me, I don't fully know. I feel a bit like, you know, when you like have like an electrolyte or like Huel powder or something, and you mix it in water and you like proper shake it, and it's like kind of like quite mixed, but like there's still a bit of like powderiness. Like I'm not fully emulsified. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's like a bit more shaking. You know? Like, a bit more shaking, like a bit more moving. And I feel like I have parts of like my person that I really want to like I've not really done loads of like my own content and stuff like kind of forward facing like off my own back. I feel like at the moment I feel really like stretched with like my day job and just like life in general to do that, even with like my comedy and stuff. Like I haven't like I've taken a bit of a break on it just because it's like a lot to like think of new material. I've been running the same 10 minutes for like 3 years, so like if you see me do comedy, I'm sorry, it's gonna be repetitive. But yeah, I would love to like explore a little bit more of myself with that. I love singing as well. Like I'd love to just incorporate everything one day and just be like that, but I don't even know how that looks. So like TBC.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. True self.
You're welcome.
I was like, oh my, I'm so glad I'm at the end of this. But now I feel more confused. No, I feel very settled in who I am, but I also like think a lot about who I was as a kid, and I feel very in tune with that person still. I think there was a point like maybe 6-7 years ago where I felt really lost and I didn't really know where I belonged and who I was, or I just didn't know what that meant in this context. And now I feel really settled that even if I was in a brand new place or a place I know in my sleep, I'd still be me. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room to learn, because I think growing is just responding to your life, right? And that is
You're not full of gems, girl.
literally my dad. He brings out some wisdom, and I always I've got his voice in my head. Like he is so wise. I've said this to Almir actually. Like there's this word in Hindi called gyan, and it's really hard to translate sometimes single words, but it's like, unsolicited, really good wisdom that you didn't know you needed, but you definitely needed.
Yeah.
And he's got the best sort of delivery. And he'll always say to me, he's like, Nacha, the thing is, we can never stop growing. We will stop. He's got a really low voice. Big mustache. And his whole thing is we only stop growing when we're dead. And if we think we know everything, then we need to maybe work on that. And he's a teacher, and so that's where that comes from. But I think we're always growing, right? We need to actively engage in our life. And whoever that version of ourselves is doing that is true to this moment. So, I don't know.
Thank you so much.
That's my fault.
It's so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where can we see your comedy show?
I've got I'll put a couple of little bits on my Instagram, but I will if you follow me on Instagram, I will make sure I put it on there when I'm next doing it. I've done a few spots at Hedgerow House before.
Oh, no way.
There's a really sick night on a Thursday, I think once a month, called Pig Rock by the River. It's the comedy style down there. And there's one that's near me, which is at Bridgend Social, and that's every second Wednesday of the month. I'm just plugging people's comedy nights now. But get down to them. It's I think the comedy community in Leeds is awesome. Everyone's so kind. Everyone's so welcoming. I'd only ever done one. I think I did 2 gigs back home before I ever even started doing comedy in Leeds, and everyone was just so welcoming, so cool. So I will again TBC. Yeah. But you've now made me feel I should get back to it. So
Yeah.
Get on it. I want to come and see it.
It's a lot of just get ready for a lot of weird jokes about being mixed race and dead dads. If you're into all that, then enjoy.
Sounds great.
Funny.
Would it be okay if we got the cup for the raffle? Or the cup
I'll
this
go
time
get it.
instead of bag? Oh, Amy's going to go get them. Wonderful. While Amy grabs the bag for the raffles this evening, would it be okay if you all just like plugged yourself, tell everyone your socials, where they can find you, if it's music related, video related, like how to get in touch if they wanted to be a part of like We Belong Here or anything like that as well.
My socials are at Scott Free, spelled incredibly awkwardly as SKOTT number 3 REE. I also go by the name Scotty Free Billion. There's a distinction because Scotty Free is music production and Scotty Free Billion is everything else that I just like. I was doing video work and I was like, I don't want to just be like putting this out under this all the time, so I became Scotty Free Billion. But yeah, that's my socials. I put out a lot of music. I've got about 8 projects released this year, all varying genres of rap. Yeah, if you want to drop us a follow, you'll see a lot going on.
Are you still up for
Oh yeah, that's a great point. I have a load of cassette tapes on me as well for the project I dropped yesterday and a project I dropped 2 months ago as well. I don't know if anyone's into cassette tapes. I know it's a bit niche, but I just feel like it's a really nice format to mess with and it's got my heart. So if anyone else feels that way, let me know. I've got tapes for a tenner and I designed them. I'm really proud of them. And yeah, thank you guys. It's been lovely.
Thank you.
So I'm really lucky with my hat because I got in there quite. I don't know. I mean, there's not a lot of Sholas like around, but I'm at Sholagram on Instagram. That's my main thing. Give me a follow. I'm so excited to be in this room and like chat to everyone. Like if everyone's hanging around and stuff after. And I'd love to just be in the loop like with everything that you guys have got going on as well. So please drop me a message if you ever want to like just link up on anything. And be warned, yeah, I do like sometimes just like randomly for like a day just go on private because of, like with like work at Leeds Plus, like
Yeah, me too.
yeah, like with work, like sometimes if the comments get a bit crazy, I'm like I don't want anyone to like know I'm linked. Like if they comment it's when they know my voice, So like I'm usually like on public, but yeah, you may catch me on private, but please follow me and yeah, I will be more public with my comedy gigs and stuff. So keep up with me there. And yeah, this is so like I'm really thanks for listening to me ramble, and yeah, it's so nice to meet everyone.
Thank you.
It's been so nice to talk to you guys.
Likewise.
It's been so inspiring.
Nice to meet you.
I remember coming last month and just leaving feeling so warm and cozy, and I feel so warm and cozy again. Can't wait for next one. My Instagram is, unfortunately, I have the opposite problem. I did my Instagram when I was 14 and I've never changed it. So it's Shenanigans of Nat. Good luck spelling that. It's really hard to spell shenanigans. Shenanigans. And then We Belong Here is just We Belong Here UK. And if you ever need some advice on how to do a mural, or you want to get involved in painting a mural or doing some public art stuff, just hit up the Instagram. I've got like 15 murals coming up this summer, so need hands.
Yeah, you're really on it. You're really on it right now.
I was thinking when you said you did the deep dive, I was like, I've not updated the website. I don't know what you say. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna really try.
I'd look though, guys, because there is some really, really incredible stuff on there. Anything from like installations mixed with documentary and community to like.
There's a lot of stuff on there.
Yeah, beautiful like food gatherings and all sorts. So like it's really, really beautiful to see like the array of incredible community work you do that still like feeds the soul, literally.
Literally
feeds the soul. So that was really beautiful.
Thank you for having me. This has been so nice.
That's you.
Like I would like the page I work for is called Leeds Plus Social. If you're not already sick of my voice, prepare to be sick of me if you follow.
Thank you. So to like end off this lovely chat this evening, we do a little raffle. So tonight's offerings are, we have some zines from Village Bookstore up above Welcome, which was really lovely. We're going to speak to Sam Hutchinson, who hopefully to get on the panel at some point, but we've got one of his zines, and also an incredible lady, I believe her name is Zoe. I don't know her last name because it's not in the book, but she is our, I think, Leeds Art University, and she's doing photography, graphic design, and things like that. Selfless little plug tonight. One of the giveaways is my book, photography book that I made. Yeah, so that's one of them. There is like a painting that's like a photograph of a painting, also kindly given by IP Gallery. They were based in Bradford. I think they've recently moved, but they do incredible work and facilitate a lot of artists and photographers getting the work out there. And finally, the last raffle prize of the evening is a box of Yorkshire tea, because we are sponsored by Yorkshire tea, which is so exciting. So if you want to go in the bag and pick out, they are the emails that we put on the mailing list. Go and do it. Who forgot? Drum roll, please.
Jess Horton.
This is Zoe's photography book from Village. So here you go, babe. Congratulations. Okay, down the line, your next show. So the next one is Sam Hutchinson's zine, Terror Complete of Faith.
Unfurledmorales@gmail.com. Unfurled.morales@gmail.com. Murals, my bad. Unfurled.murals@gmail.com.
I think they have gone to go get a drink or something.
Wait!
Ah, disqualified.
Wow. You take it.
Yeah, we'll part that one.
Okay, I'll do call at the end. Do you
Oh,
know?
that's hilarious.
Oh, no way, Lion and Tia.
Sarge's taken the other last two. No.
All right, okay. Thank you so much.
That's Sam Hutchinson's zine.
Shall I hold it once you do it?
You gotta take it.
Let's go!
We have tjhickson@hotmail.co.uk.
Oh, he's not here. He had to leave for work.
Disqualified.
Okay, so let's see this side. Right, so the next two and the last two. So we have the book. Who's getting the book?
Running out of it.
Here. Tia.
Tia.
Rigged. Disqualified.
I put my email in for him because I couldn't remember.
Also, technically, it was Ryan
Wait, did you
who
pick
got the
Tia?
previous.
Those are the two that was. You get the two.
To be fair, I saw Ryan and Tia, so I said Ryan and Tia, but it does say
They
Ryan.
had 2 tickets.
With tears.
They bought
Oh.
2 tickets, so it's one apiece.
Clear it up.
I've got this book and it's in prize position on my coffee table, so if anybody else would like it, I feel like that's more
Should we
fair.
draw again?
One more drop. I understand people left. Things run over. It's okay. Life happens.
Emily.
Congratulations. Here you go, Emily. You are more than welcome. Okay, so the last one of the night is the Yorkshire tea. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Disqualified.
Is it Alman?
Yep.
Yay! You want some Yorkshire tea?
Don't drink it all at once.
Well, I would just like to thank you all for being here tonight. I really, really appreciate all your support, not only for the Sit With Tea series of events, but also supporting these incredible
incredible artists tonight. So can I have a big round of applause for all? I'd also like to say thank you to Hope House and Map Charity for allowing me to put on these events and facilitating the space. I'm very, very grateful for that. And finally, thank you so much to Rob and Amy who have been supporting me shooting this evening. Please feel free to stay and have some drinks and have a chat with us. All of the bar proceeds, whether that's soft drinks or alcoholic, all go towards Map Charity, which is a very dear charity to my heart. And there's also a SpongeBob group exhibition next door. So if you want to stay and see some SpongeBob art, play on a PS2 and play SpongeBob games, you so can. But finally, if you wouldn't mind sharing your thoughts and feelings for tonight, whether that be online or there is a piece of paper, like a big flip chart outside, that you can just, I've got pens and stuff, just write how you felt tonight. I'd really, really appreciate it, and all feedback is very, very grateful. But yeah, thank you all for coming.